I just checked my student loans because I needed to get the information to someone, and I started with 80,000. I have been paying for 10 years. Last year, I paid 6,000 lump sum because that's really the only way to get it low. That took it down to 76,000 after I've been paying for 9 years. The grand total is I have paid $120,000 and I still owe 76. I think I might be late to the game learning about this. Student loans are really messed up.
Yeah, they are really messed up. So here's what's happening here. She didn't realize that making minimum payments with a high interest rate would mean her student loan balance grows as she tries to pay it down. So she's paid down $4,000 from her original balance while having paid 120 grand total for an $80,000 loan. Y'all, this is the reality of student loan. This is why you can't just make minimum payments. This is why you shouldn't get on these income-based repayment plans where it keeps your payment nice and low as a gift to you while your student loan balance balloons and balloons and balloons. It could grow 50%, even 100% if you make these minimum payments. So you got to throw extra at it. Use the debt snowball method. Get these out of your life. Don't wait a decade or 2 decades. Take control. Be done with it forever.
I think that's one of the dudes from the Dave Ramsey circle. And he's obviously recommending the debt snowball method. If you guys haven't checked out Ramsey's method, I would certainly, of course, start there. I think it's a tremendous amount of fundamental knowledge. It gets you into the right habits. Managing your money and taking control over all this stuff, folks, is really just about habits. It's about discipline. It's about consistency. I've always looked at it very similarly to eating right and exercise. Just very common sense. If you stick with it and you're disciplined, you will get ahead. If you don't stick with it, you're not disciplined, you will fall behind. Simple as that. And we talk all about cash flow on this channel. Cash flow is the difference between everything you earn and deposit into your bank minus everything you spend. That includes all of your necessities and your monthly bills, as well as your discretionary wants and those items that are sort of impulse purchases and eating out or buying a car that's more expensive than you should, or shopping online or going to the spa, travel, all the things that are not necessary to survive. And after you've spent all of those dollars, what remains is cash flow. And the cash flow is what allows you to apply the extra that he's talking about there in the video towards the principal amount that you owe in order to accelerate paying it off. But can you believe that, guys? What does she say? Started with $80,000, has only paid off $4,000 after spending $120,000. This is ludicrous. I don't know how many more of these reaction videos I'm going to be able to do for you guys, because it literally makes me sick to my stomach when I sit and listen to this. You can hear the pain in people's voices. And what did she say? She said, I think I'm late to the party. I hate to break it to you. There was never a party. There was never a party. This was a stay at home by ourselves and either learn it or don't. Nobody got together and said, let's all study this. That's what should have happened. They should have put all of us in school and put us into a budgeting class, into a credit education class, into a fiscal responsibility class, into an interest education class. They should have taught us what we needed to know getting out here into the real world, and they didn't. So there wasn't a party, and there should have been. So it's not your fault you didn't learn it early. It's your fault you're not learning it now. And being here on a channel like this should help you with that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so that you can get more insight from other people's experiences. Also, download the Cash Flow Cruncher. It's a free tool we provide to everybody as a courtesy. There's no strings attached. Just go to cashflowcruncher.com. It's an Excel spreadsheet budgeting tool. I've been personally using it now for 15 or 16 years. It's the same as it's been since then, and it is phenomenal. I use it for absolutely everything. I track it almost on a daily basis. Shouldn't require nearly that much work, but I have overkill when it comes to managing my money because I just know how important it is. And the more I watch videos like this, the more terrified I get and the more I want to avoid ever being in that type of a situation again. I have been in that situation. And once you get out, it is the most rewarding, it's the most empowering, it's the most fulfilling, it is the most secure feeling that I can remember ever having. And I never, ever, ever plan to go back to that place where I had a ton of debt, automobile debt, a ton of credit card debt, personal loan debt, home equity line of credit debt. At this point, all of those are zero, and they're zero every single month. And that's where you guys got to work to get, but it's going to start with the budgeting, and it's going to continue with your ongoing pursuit of education and knowledge. Knowledge is power. We've been saying it for over a decade. Let's go to the comments. Student loans need an overhaul. Compounding interest on student loans shouldn't exist. Another comment, student loans should be interest-free. Echoing one of the sentiments from a previous video. Look, we can either pay for a roof over our head or student loans. Take your pick. Unfortunately, you may not have a choice. The student loans may have to be paid regardless of whether or not you would choose to pay them. They may just come right out of your paycheck, and then where are you going to live, right? This is a problem. This is a major, major crisis unless something changes. Let's take a look at the next video.
I'm 27 years old and I'm in $106,000 worth of debt, majority of that being student debt. And I've always been open and honest about how I got to where I am today. And I've posted about it on TikTok before, but I haven't really given an update. Today I had a big realization, okay, that I really regret getting so much debt going through school, to be honest. And I try not to live with regrets because I find them to be stupid. Can't change the past, so you might as well just move forward. But I went to go look at houses today with my partner, and it really sucks knowing that I'm not going to be able to contribute in any way, basically, if we decide to buy a house. I can't even be on the loan application because my debt to income ratio is so bad, and I would basically just be hurting us if I were on the loan application. And that was a really frustrating fact because every single month I spend almost $900 on paying back student loans. And if I didn't have that high of a payment, none of this would even be an issue. And I feel really discouraged and I feel very upset because I've been paying back my student loans, but it really feels like I'm not making a dent, to be quite honest, because I'm not obviously sending large chunks of change at it every single month. I've just been basically paying the minimum payment and trying to survive because as a nurse in Florida, I only make a little over $32 an hour. And so life is good because I have a roof over my head and I can afford to live within my means currently, but it feels like it can't move forward because I'm being choked by the neck by my debt every single month. And I have no one to blame but myself. I'm totally aware of that. But at the time when I was taking all of this debt out, I don't think I fully comprehended how it was going to affect my future. And it's just a little upsetting because when you're in the midst of trying to pay back your debt, it feels like there is no finish line. It really feels like there is no light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. And I know that there is, but I'm just feeling discouraged lately because even having refinanced my private student loan, my payment is still $450 a month. So just a little food for thought for anybody who is looking to take out student loans for school. Highly do not recommend, but I know that I will get it done. I know that, but it sucks in the meantime.
I have a few different thoughts on that one. If she is working full time, which I think some nurses don't, right? Isn't it like 312s or maybe 410s? So if she is working 40 hours a week, I just did the quick math while she was sharing, right? We're looking at $64,000 a year. And I'm a little confused about what she said. Was it $900 per month that she has to pay, or is it $450 per month that she has to pay? I know she mentioned a refinance. I don't know if there's other student loans that would be added to that $450 to make it $900, but I'm a little confused where all of her money is going at $64,000 per year. It seems like she would have plenty of extra money to at least contribute to a housing expense. Maybe she's not the most qualified loan applicant on a 1003 for a mortgage, which is why they chose to leave her off. Even then would be a little confusing unless her credit is just trashed. But she mentioned a DTI issue, which again, $900 per month. I guess my question would be, what are the other debts, right? She said $106,000 worth of debt. So How much of that is student loan? I believe she said it's the majority. This one's a little bit confusing to me. I'm not quite sure that she's really out there managing things the way she should be. And I think that's the gist of most of these. I can always poke holes in whether or not somebody's doing all they can. Sometimes the grind has to be absolutely real, especially someone her age. When I was her age and even well past, I would have a handful of nights a week where I would literally work all night as well. So I would just work straight through and right into the next workday. And I was a zombie, believe me, but I was doing that because I haven't had a job since 2000 or 2001. I've been working for myself since then, and I never saw a backup plan. I could never picture myself working for somebody else. And unfortunately, there is no clock to punch in and out of when you're a self-employed person. And if you don't have a fallback and there are no safety nets and you're a college dropout and all of these, I had a lack of skills other than what I was doing best and what I was already trying to create professionally. So if it didn't work, I was screwed. So I was literally doing a whatever it takes type of move. She seems young enough. I didn't hear her mention children. They're talking about buying their first home. It's exciting times, but I guess I'm a little, there's two parts to this. Number one, I'm really disappointed and saddened by the state of the psychological world right now. I just feel it. I see it around me. I see people I'm closest with struggling. I see people like her struggle, where finances play such a huge role emotionally. And it can wear you down. And it'll wear you down to cause the second part of my thought process here to be a problem, which is you got to get out there and do more. And as a nurse, I can't imagine how tired both physically and mentally you would end up being after a shift. And perhaps it's not get off of work and go to work. Maybe it's on your 3 days off, you've got another job, a part-time job. But if you're going to continue to pay the minimums like you are right now, you're in big trouble. You're in hot water, young lady. And that's what we're getting at here on today's video. It has to be significantly bigger chunks than just the minimum payment. And that cash flow number we talked about earlier, remember that? The difference between what we make and spend? The only way to grow that number is to make more and or spend less. Preferably both. You're going to have to cut out of your life. You've got to make sacrifices, unfortunately, especially at this age. Just get out from underneath it. And take it from me, guys. I've been very transparent on this channel from the beginning. I shared with y'all that I had over $600,000 worth of non-mortgage related debts that I paid off. And I paid them off chunk by chunk by chunk by doing exactly what I said, which is working as many frickin' hours as I possibly could. That's what's going to have to happen in our country. And it's glaringly obvious. This is only getting worse and worse. Sorry, I keep banging the mic, guys. All right. I think we got one more video that the team sent over. Let's see what it is.
I'm gonna do another student loan payment of $30 today. We're doing $30 a day for my loan preview, and we are going to submit that payment. Girl, we did it. Another $30 payment. I try to pay at least $30 a day, around $7.99 per month, $800. And so by doing $30 each day for 31 days, it's $930. So I'm paying over the required amount. So if you have a lot of credit card debt or even student loan debt, it's so much easier to pay it off in bite size every single day rather than paying such a huge amount monthly. We are being financially responsible.
I love that. That was a good one to end on, guys. Little positivity there, a little strategy, nothing wrong with some techniques. Again, so much of this is psychological. I found exactly the same thing. This is why I pay my credit cards in full every single day, because I run multiple companies and have tens of thousands of dollars. Usually my credit card costs average around $20K a month. I think because of the large expenditures that come up that we can use the credit card for, It'll come out to over $400,000 by the end of the year. I think that's the average pace that we're on at the moment, is about $35,000 per month on average. But that's because we go out and purchase $20,000 or $30,000 items every few months, it seems, every couple of months. And so we have a very expensive overhead when it comes to my blue collar business, which is a sewer company. So it's a lot. And I don't really want to see a $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 balance at the end of the month and then smack that away. So instead, we just chip it. Right? I'd much rather see $1,000 a day in balances that I can just knock out. And that just helps me on a mental level. It really makes no difference here or there on any other factors. There's no downside to doing it that way, but there is that psychological edge. And psychological edges are really meaningful. It's what Dave Ramsey's entire career is built on, right? The snowball method, paying the smallest balance first and working your way up to the largest balance, just chipping away the smallest until it's gone. Hit the second smallest until it's gone, the third, fourth, fifth. And therefore, you keep getting these little wins and it just fires you up. There's so much momentum behind it and it keeps you consistent. So is that the financially or mathematically best way of going about paying off your debt? No, paying it off the avalanche way and paying the highest interest accounts first down oftentimes mathematically will make the best sense. Focusing on the target rate like we teach on this channel. If you don't know what that is, subscribe, watch the other videos, and we'll discuss it. And you can find another great way of attacking and eliminating debt. But I'm here saying that the psychological advantage in doing what she's doing, where each and every day she's just hitting it a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And that little bit adds up to more than what she would have paid if she just paid at the end of the month one time, the minimum amount, which will get her nowhere. So this is actually going to get her further ahead. She feels like a win. Look how excited she is. Tell me that she's not fired up over those wins. So find yourself a daily win. I think that's a really great way to end today's episode. What are your thoughts about all of this, folks? I mean, she has $186,000 worth of student loan debt. That is going to be a really long path. 187,000 maybe. I can't remember exactly, but it's going to be tough. But kudos to her for doing what she has to do. You guys got to get out there and do what you got to do. Download that Cashflow Cruncher, totally free of charge, cashflowcruncher.com. Start using it daily or use any other tool that you can. I'd recommend using something that's a little more technologically advanced, much beyond just handwriting something in a journal, much beyond just tracking something in your own loose little spreadsheet, much beyond posting reminders in your calendars to make payments, set up everything on auto pay, and get yourself ahead. Stop eating out for a while. Get a handle on where your money is going and make adjustments. And I think you'll be surprised. It's very rare that you can't find at least an extra $500 per month if you're just a little bit tighter about everything. And guess what? You probably won't even miss it most of the time. So until we see you on the next video, guys, make it a great day today and keep on cash flowing. Take care.